Ever pause to wonder why you behave the way you do in social situations? You're not alone. Welcome to the intriguing world of social psychology, a field dedicated to understanding the why behind our social actions. Today, we'll delve into how social groups and culture can influence our individual behaviors. As humans, we're inherently social creatures, and these forces shape us in ways we often don't realize. Dive in as we unravel how our social world shapes our actions and decisions. Do you know that your actions are largely influenced by the people around you? Social influence is a powerful force, shaping our behavior, thoughts, and feelings. It's a psychological phenomenon where we adapt our actions, decisions, or perceptions to match those of the people around us. This happens in three primary ways: through conformity, compliance, and obedience. Let's start with conformity. It's the act of matching attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors to group norms. It's like when you see everyone wearing a certain style of clothing, and you start to think that maybe you should be wearing it too. This is called fashion trends. It's not just about wanting to fit in, it's about our inherent desire to be part of a group. Then we have compliance. This is when we agree to do something that someone asks us to do, even if we might not necessarily want to do it. A classic example is peer pressure. Remember when you were a teenager and your friends wanted you to try something risky, like staying out late or skipping school? You might not have wanted to, but you complied to maintain their approval and avoid conflict. Lastly, there's obedience, which is a form of social influence where an individual acts in response to a direct order from another individual who is usually an authority figure. Take, for instance, the workplace. When your boss gives you a task, you complete it, not necessarily because you want to, but because you recognize their authority and obey the command. These examples show how social influence can be a potent force in our lives, subtly guiding our actions and decisions. It's not always negative. It can lead to positive changes, like adopting healthier habits because your friends are doing so. But it's important to be aware of it, so we can make conscious decisions and not just follow the crowd blindly. Indeed, we are social animals, significantly swayed by our social environment. Ever noticed how different cultures have distinct behavioral norms? It's an intriguing phenomenon, isn't it? Let's delve into it. Culture is like a complex tapestry, interwoven with threads of norms, values, and customs that collectively shape our behavior. It's akin to an invisible rule book that guides our actions, often without us even realizing it. Take personal space, for instance. In some cultures, it's perfectly normal to stand close to someone during a conversation. In others, that may be perceived as intrusive. This is because different cultures have different perceptions of what constitutes an acceptable distance between individuals. Similarly, the way we communicate is heavily influenced by our cultural backgrounds. Some cultures prize directness and assertiveness, considering them signs of honesty and transparency. On the other hand, in some cultures, such directness may be viewed as rude or aggressive. Instead, they favor subtle hints and indirect expressions. It's fascinating, isn't it, how our words and the way we articulate them can be so deeply rooted in our cultural upbringing. Now let's talk about punctuality. In many Western cultures, such as the United States, being on time is highly valued. It's seen as a sign of respect for other people's time. However, in other cultures, the concept of time is more fluid. Arriving late by another place's standards might not be considered tardy at all. This variation in attitudes towards punctuality further illustrates how our behaviors are molded by the cultural contexts in which we are raised. These examples serve as a testament to the immense power that culture holds over our behaviors. It shapes how we perceive the world, how we interact with others, and ultimately, how we understand ourselves. It's like a set of glasses through which we view the world, influencing our perceptions and reactions in ways we often don't even realize. So next time you notice a behavior that seems different or unusual, remember that it's likely deeply rooted in cultural norms and values. It's a fascinating reminder of the rich diversity of human behavior and the powerful influence of culture on our lives. Culture indeed is a powerful lens through which we view and interpret the world. Ever felt the urge to fit in with a certain group? It's a common sentiment, and it can reveal a lot about how social groups shape our individual behavior. Imagine a puzzle, each piece unique and distinct, yet all fitting together to form a complete picture. That's exactly how social groups work. Each member, while maintaining their individuality, contributes to the overall identity of the group. Let's delve into a concept known as in-group bias. This is when we have a preference for the group we belong to, and it's a natural human tendency. Picture a sports team rivalry, say, cricket fans in Australia. Fans of the same team feel a sense of camaraderie, a shared identity, and often a shared bias against rival teams. They cheer together, they mourn losses together, and they feel a sense of belonging in their shared passion. On the flip side, we have out-group discrimination. This is the tendency to view those outside our group less favorably. Think about high school cliques. Remember how the cool kids would often exclude others who didn't fit into their mold? That's a classic example of out-group discrimination. These tendencies aren't just limited to sports or school, though. They permeate every aspect of our lives, from our workplaces to our communities. It's important to recognize these biases and work towards a more inclusive mindset. Our social groups in many ways define who we are and how we act. So how do social psychology, culture, and social groups influence our behavior? Well, let's take a moment to revisit what we've discussed. We started by introducing social psychology, the field that explores how our thoughts, feelings, and actions are affected by the presence of others. We spoke about the power of social influence, how we are shaped by the norms and expectations of those around us. Then we delved into the role of culture in shaping behavior. We've seen how culture acts like a lens, coloring our perception of the world and guiding our responses. We also examined the impact of social groups, highlighting the ways they contribute to our identity, behavior, and decision-making. Understanding social psychology provides us with a powerful tool to interpret human behavior. It